Hi, everyone. I'm Landry from Etheridge Counseling Group here in Charleston, South Carolina. In this video, we're joined by Channing to talk about her powerful article, recent blog called How Gratitude and Grief Can Coexist. We'll unpack how gratitude can offer grounding and meaning even in the seasons of loss, and why it's not about choosing one emotion over the other. So I'm excited to dive into this article and understand how these two things that seem very different and opposed actually can work really beautifully together. So in this blog, you're exploring how grief and gratitude can coexist side by side. Can you share what inspired you to write about this connection?
Yeah, I think unfortunately myself and just the people around me were just going through so much of a season of grief. There just happened to have been like a lot of loss, and some that was new loss, some that was grief that was coming up from old losses, anniversaries of losses, things of that nature. Not just myself, but friends and family and my clients as well. It seemed to kind of like be all around me. And one thing that I kind of noticed was it's really difficult when you're experiencing such a strong emotional experience, such as grief, to not kind of feel like you're swallowed up by it. And
Mm.
I often will see, and myself included, I think it's hard when you're going through lots of strong emotions, but I will often see that it's kind of that all or nothing. It's I'm either completely swallowed up this by this grief, or it's like I am just so happy that I got to know that person or have that experience, or even be able to be excited about that thing that I didn't even end up getting to do. Which it's just hard to not want to flip flop back and forth. But realizing that we really, as humans, are designed to have a full emotional experience. We really don't have to pick that. It
Mm.
can be really healing to invite more than one thing at the same time and fostering that as a skill, because it's definitely a skill, right? Like you have to be intentional. It's not as easy as it seems.
I think it's really a sign of growth when you can hold those two things together. You
Mhm.
mentioned again also in your article that forced gratitude can actually be like a block to healing. Do you have some ways that people can recognize when that's started to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think what came up for me there is, a lot of times with grief, particular to strong emotions, so sometimes people don't always know how to respond. And I've noticed that a very common response is, well, at least, or but at least you got to do this thing. And so I think it's can be easy to fall into that, but how you can recognize like, ooh, maybe this is more of a forced grief or sorry, gratitude instead of uh like inviting gratitude is when it's that idea of oftentimes really thinking about it, is this a question or is this more of like a statement like, well, at least you got to do this thing, instead of, wow, it seems like this has been a really impactful experience for you. I wonder what positive things also could have come with that as well. Or just sitting with that person in their sadness. You don't have to always experience gratitude. That naturally, like if you're trying to invite it because you feel uncomfortable versus just naturally opening the door for it. So oftentimes that's even through like a question, but even questions can kind of be forced too sometimes, or coercive. That's usually when you're falling into more of that forced grief. I'm feeling uncomfortable, so I'm trying to, sorry, forced gratitude. I'm feeling uncomfortable, so I'm trying to get rid of the negative emotion and bring something positive. So I feel more comfortable, not because I'm trying to care for this other person or even
Mm-hmm.
myself, not because I'm trying to care for myself, but because I just want that emotion to go away.
Right. One sounds sort of like a should and like a redirect, and one sounds like a just a broadening and noticing what else is there in addition to the grief.
Mm-hmm.
One sounds sort of
One's
like
kind of replacing an emotion, and the other one is there another one that might also be present?
love. Okay, yes, that makes a lot of sense. For someone who is deep in grief, is do you have like a sort of one gentle practice that they could try to begin to invite authentic gratitude back into their life?
Yeah, I think even just this idea of having some way to prompt you just to slow down and recognize that I am feeling a lot of grief right now, and that's actually okay. It's okay if one emotion is the loudest thing. I think about like if your arm's broken, no one would look at you and say, I can't believe the pain that you feel from your broken arm is the only thing that you can pay attention to. It's like, no, obviously you're in pain, so that's your focus. However, just because your arm's broken doesn't mean your whole entire body feels that way. So even having that might be a note like up on your fridge or on your mirror, it might be a reminder on your phone or an alarm, just to slow down and even check in with yourself of that idea of it's not replacing the emotions, but widening our view. Is there something else here? So even gentle practices such as that, like, yes, I might be feeling a ton of grief in my body and I might physically be feeling that. Is there another sensation? It might be the tip of my pinky or the tip of my toe that feels different. And can just for a moment, can I just allow myself to feel that? That might even be for 10 seconds and then come back to the grief that I'm experiencing.
Yeah, and give yourself a small break, I think, too. Yeah. Um, well, Channing, thank you so much for reminding us that grief and gratitude don't cancel each other out, that they can coexist and actually walk hand in hand. For anybody listening, if you or someone you love is navigating grief, I really encourage you to read Channing's full blog on the website, Landry Etheridge or etheridgecounseling.com. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. Thank you again, Channing, so much for your time today.